Well, as is tradition.
As is tradition. Guys, happy Friday. We're so excited to see you, though we hope that everybody's like cool with this topic. The reason that I decided to do this topic in particular was because I was going through some keyword research on YouTube, just trying to see what most people are searching for. And one of the number one things that I saw was no sales on Etsy, open to shop, not making sales on Etsy. Why no sales on Etsy? Why not making sales on Etsy? And they were all keywords oriented with that, which closely aligns with a lot of the comments that I get on my own videos, which is I've tried everything and I'm gonna give up because I've tried everything and nothing works. Etsy hates me. I'm never gonna be able to do this, yada yada. And you know, one of the things that is unfortunate about business on Etsy in particular is that we're artists. Artists are a little bit more tied to our emotions. It's what art is. It is our emotions displayed in a way, whether it's music, which is what ℸ𝕚𝕝 does, or whether it's painting, whether it's poetry, it doesn't matter. You are taking your emotions and your feelings and you are expressing it in a creative way. But because of that, we tend to let our emotions guide us in scenarios where emotions should not guide us. It's not our emotional side of our brain that should be guiding our decision making when it comes to business. And unfortunately, you have to have a strong backbone when it comes to this. Otherwise, you're either going to be really unhappy or you're never going to do this. You're never going to make this work.
Agreed.
Because the more successful you get, the more pressure there is. A great example of that is when I first started on YouTube, everybody loved me. Everybody loved Starla, no matter what I did, no matter what I posted. Only good comments, only nice people. It was great.
I didn't like that anymore.
Yeah, now we've got 28,000 subscribers, and I have to go through on an almost daily basis and delete comments from rude little ninnies, because that's just kind of what happens as you get more popular. And the same thing is going to happen to your brand. You're going to have to deal with crappy customers. You're going to have to deal with harsh situations. You're going to have to deal with people who you don't want to deal with. And there are ways to kind of, eliminate or prevent these butt heads from really getting to you. But the core of that is you. The core of that is your resiliency and your ability to cope with these things. So we're going to dive into some heavy topics today. But please be aware that when you are live, when you are in front of a camera, you are at your most vulnerable. So I'm going to speak to you as a human being.
We are humans.
We are humans. This is not edited like my other videos where I can go through and edit out stupid things that I say.
We can't.
So I'm going to tell you exactly how this is. I'm going to give you my honest truth. And if I word things in a way that feels a little bit, insensitive, please understand that I do this every single Friday. Mark does this every single Friday. We also spend around, I would say, 10 hours a week creating our Tuesday video. I stream for over an hour in the E-Rank group on Thursdays. I have so many free resources that I put, I would say, hundreds and hundreds of hours into things like the Instagram challenge.
Yeah. You probably work a good 60, 70 hours a week every week.
On things that I give away. So there is no malicious intent here. This is me being your life coach, being the one to say, like, look, if things aren't working for you and if you're not happy with things, you have to really take ownership of the things that we're going to talk about today and say, yes, I am the sailor on this ship that is leading to my destiny. You are the one who controls where you go in life. And unfortunately, sometimes there are obstacles. So if at any point, I'm talking about things and I say something where you're like, well, wait, I'm in a wheelchair, or I have, I can't do everything at 100% all the time because I have, this chronic illness. Please understand that I am talking to thousands of people. There's no way that I can address every situation. However, I would like to point out that Mark and I both have our I guess we could say issues as well. He has degenerative disc disease and severe anxiety. He has a diagnosed anxiety disorder. I have undiagnosed chronic anxiety. Everybody has their thing. And I'm sure that if you guys posted in the chat, you could all tell me that thing. Maybe you have like 6 kids and 3 of them are in diapers. Like, everybody has that thing. Maybe you take care of like a parent who's like, you know, who's ill and living in your home or something like that. Maybe you have a child with special needs that needs your constant attention. Everybody has something.
Adversity exists everywhere, and it's up to no one but you to figure out how to get around it.
Exactly. The thing is, yes, there is help for specific situations, but when it comes to running a business, there isn't special help for that.
No, there isn't.
It's you, because you made a choice to start a business. Now, there are tips and strategies that can make things easier for you, but you have to craft your own life. You have to be able to craft your schedule in a way that works for you.
You are the keeper of your own destiny. Nobody else controls it but you.
Absolutely. So before we get in to the topic, was there anything... Starla, that's exactly what I need, the honest truth. And that's, you guys know that that's all we do here. Like, we cover all aspects of the truth or our truth. That's one thing where when you YouTube for a long time, as a creator, your truth changes because your opinions change. I started this channel when I was 25. I'm 30 now. My opinions have changed drastically.
It's all about being scientific. If you can't change your opinions, then nothing is ever going to improve. You have to be able to to challenge what you know in order to stay at the front. That's like you always say, a business professional or a business investor from like the 1940s would come in to now and literally not be capable of running a business because things are so drastically different. Things change, and things change fast. You look at how Etsy worked over 10 years ago compared to now, or even within like the last, let's say pre-COVID to post-COVID.
Yeah.
Like, it's dramatically different.
And there are so many people who say, oh, I wish it would go back. I wish. Yeah, we can wish and hope and wish that things would go back to the good old days, but they're not. So your choices are, you can either sit and think about the good old days and get yourself stuck in this sticky mud where you're looking at the future, but you're so stuck and comfortable in this mud that you're not willing to climb out of it and progress on to what the rest of your competition is doing. Or you can say, okay, I'm comfortable in this mud, but you know what? Nothing good happens within the comfort zone. I am going to crawl out of this mud, be a little bit uncomfortable, but I will survive and I will adapt.
Yes.
You will be uncomfortable. When it comes to change, when it comes to challenging yourself, when it comes to growth, when it comes to business, you will always be uncomfortable. So your best bet is to get very comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
I work best under pressure. I work best when I am stressed to the max because I know at that point I have no choice but to perform. And some people are really good at planning ahead, and they're good at planning way far into the future and getting things done and planning things out months and months and months in advance, and that's great. I live on the edge of my seat. Right now, I'm planning out a holiday boot camp that we're going to be doing. It is going to be a thing that we're charging money for.
Yes.
But we'll have more details on that soon. It's going to be cheap. We're making it way cheaper than
usual, yes.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I waited till the last minute to start planning it, and now I'm throwing it together, and I've only got like 2 weeks to get the whole thing done. But because of that, I know it's going to be amazing. Because if I was just piddle farting around with it, putting it together months ago, I wouldn't have been as driven. But now that I know I have no choice, it's going to be the best damn thing you guys have ever seen. So let's go ahead. Did we have any comments before we...
Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Love that statement. Yeah,
I got some banger quotes for you guys today.
At the end of the day, a lot of people like to spend a lot of time complaining, and it's not just with their business and life and politics.
You guys see it on Facebook. Your families probably do it.
And a lot of you probably contribute to it. And the thing is, instead of spending your time complaining about what could have been and arguing with people online that, let's be honest, you're probably not qualified to argue about, spend your time educating yourself on subjects. If you're unhappy with something, if you're unhappy with your business, educate yourself. Watch our videos. Well, there's plenty of other coaches out there. Watch their videos. Do your own research. Read through Etsy's best practices. 50% of what we get our information from is based on Etsy's best practices. It's just easier to listen to somebody else explain it in a way that makes sense. If you're unhappy with politics, get out and educate yourself and become a politician. There's no reason to be stressed and upset about things that are fully within your control. And if it's not within your control, there's usually a way. Yeah, you can either let it go or you can figure out a way, contact someone who can help get you in control. Your finances out of whack, get yourself a financial expert, get yourself whatever. Just educate yourself, move on, quit being upset all the time, and focus on moving forward instead of what's holding you back.
Yeah. And Mr. Moore was in the military, and you guys have to consider that when it came to not having a choice, he was in a profession of not having a choice. He gets a call at 6 o'clock in the morning, be dressed, be ready to go run a 5K out in the middle of the night with, 30 other dudes. Okay, like, he doesn't have a choice. Cool. He's got to get out and run and do a 5K when he's half asleep. Yeah, or he goes to jail. Like, it's one of those things where the human brain is capable of amazing things and crazy things when it feels like it doesn't have a choice. But the thing is, a lot of us have choices. We have choices where, oh, I could work on my business, but, ooh, House of the Dragon just came out. I'm going to watch that instead. Mm-hmm. We have choices. And especially when, we're used to having our work hours where we go to work. If you've got a day job, you go to work, you clock out. And then whatever happens after you clock out is just your time to assign to whatever. Those are the times when you feel like I deserve to sit around and do nothing. And sometimes you do.
You absolutely do. Just don't get addicted to it, because it's absolutely something. Yeah, I've been addicted to it. She's been addicted to it. We've all gone through it. You can look at our YouTube channel and see when we stopped uploading videos and only did live streams for like 6-7 months because we got complacent. We were still doing our job. We were still creating the free resources, but just recording an extra video of a week was tiresome.
Yeah, that was right after my grandma passed away, and I just I did not want to be in front of a camera. I wanted to do my own thing. But
exactly. Everybody's got their good and everybody's got their bad. It's how you figure it out that makes the difference.
Exactly. So let's start with a very basic point. This is my belief. You don't have to share this belief. I think that we are all mature here. We can all discuss openly with each other. My belief is that every single human is entitled to make a living. They're entitled to make the money that they need in order to live and to live happily, right? That's I think that's something that most people can agree on. However, no one is entitled to make someone buy your product. You are not entitled to make sales.
No, you're not.
You are entitled to make a living. There are a lot of ways to make a living, but if your product is, polished, what's that lady? The lady who does the moose poop. She does the poo-poo clock, and
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I'm sure most of them will know who we're talking about.
Which she does make a lot of money selling her moose poop. But if you are selling polished turds and nobody wants to buy them, you do not deserve to make money just because you have created an item. Because there is an entire other part that comes to selling something, and that is demand for what you have created. The proof of that is in looking at all of the product ideas that have failed. Nobody had to buy mixed spaghetti. If you guys remember, McDonald's had spaghetti in like the 80s.
I bet it was good.
I'm sure it was okay, but nobody had to buy that. Therefore, McDonald's, they launched a product without doing product research. They created a product that there was no demand for, because when people think of McDonald's, they don't think of spaghetti. They think of burgers and they think of chicken nuggets. So the product failed. It is the same thing with the things that you make. And oftentimes what we do as creators is we put the cart before the horse, we make a thing, and then we figure out who it's for. But from this moment on, I would highly advise that you do your research first, find who you want to create a product for, your target customer, your target audience, your target market, and then make what they want to buy. You can do that with erank.com, which I believe I've got the link to sign up for that down below. You can do that, using the keyword tool by typing in a couple keywords associated with what you want to sell. If no one's searching for it on Etsy, it's a pretty good chance that you're not going to sell it on Etsy, right? You have to create a product that people want. You are not entitled to make those sales just because you made a thing. And we see that a lot with like print-on-demand shops where somebody will start like 600 print-on-demand shops, all with different themes, and they'll, they have no passion for what they're doing. They're just slapping some designs on as many shirts as possible and launching it. And then they'll come to me and they'll say, I made 6,000 shirts and I'm paying all this money in my Etsy listings, but I haven't made any sales yet. And I'm like, okay, what are you passionate about? Like, what? You've got all these shirts and that's great, but...
For long-term success, if the answer to that is money, then you're probably not going to do well. Obviously, we all want to make money. I'm sure there might be one or two of you that are like, no, I don't care about the money. I just do this because I like making stuff.
It's like me writing my book.
Yeah, exactly. Occasionally, some people are like that. But if your answer is money, then that's the wrong motivation because you're going to get demotivated pretty fast.
Yeah. I like to say that money is like a cat. If you chase a cat, what's a cat do? A cat runs away. You can't chase a cat. If you chase money, you are going to make money move away from you. Mm-hmm. However, if you sit down on the ground and you are calm and you talk nicely to the cat, that cat will choose to come to you. You are at peace with yourself. You are at peace with your environment. If you are at peace with your business and you are creating something that is positive and you are projecting out positivity with your brand, people will come to you. Money will come to you. Mm-hmm. That's why when it comes to us selling Handmade Alpha Academy, which is our Etsy course, we only open that twice a year. And any other time, we're doing free stuff. 90% of what we do is free. Is completely free.
And yes, there is money from YouTube, but it's not enough to live off of.
Right.
Not even close.
But the point is that there are, you guys have seen them, those coaches. It's a lot of the bro coaches, here's all my sports cars and my bikini babes. Like those.
They were already rich before they started coaching, most of the time.
The point that I'm getting at, though, is that they are just trying to get money. And the way that they try to reel in as much money as possible is by focusing on making that money. And the way that they do that is through things like manipulation, showing usually young men. They'll show them cars and women. And they show this to young, impressionable
uneducated, usually.
Yeah, young, usually college kids, and they say, you want to make money? Then buy my money-making course on how to make money.
People that are desperate. At the end of the day, it's people that are desperate. People that, I want that lifestyle. I want those women. I want that money. I want to be the popular guy. I want to be the guy that's on TV. Like, they're legal con artists.
But what they don't do is they don't bring value to their audiences in a authentic way. I think she's eating her treat. They don't bring in any trust value with their audience. They aren't real with their audience. They create an online persona that they stick to that isn't authentic and aligns with their true character. And smart people, I'm sure you guys, you see it and you say, this is a load of crap. You can see it. You know it's a load of crap. But there are people who are looking at that and either they don't care that it's a load of crap or they want what that person has so bad that they are willing to invest everything they have into trying to get it. And the unfortunate thing is when it comes to things like that, most of these programs don't have high success rates. Now we're getting off.
They have an almost 0% success rate.
Yeah.
Most of those things like Ty Lopez's stuff. How many people of the tens of thousands of people he sold his course to are actually successful now?
I took
two.
I took Ty Lopez's course. I took it right when he first did his video It was like 7 years ago when he did his first Here in My Garage, just got this new Lamborghini video.
We bought it for educational purposes.
Yeah, I did buy it. I was totally in Tai Lopez's funnel. I admired him at the time. And then I started to see through the BS and I realized, okay, this just isn't... He says some things that are relatively insightful.
He's a multi-millionaire. He didn't get there by being an idiot.
But his community and those who are within it, I could see the type of thing that I was getting myself into, and I realized that this does not align with my morals, my values, and where I want to go with my life, and these are not the sales tactics that I want to use with the people that I love and trust, which is you. Therefore, I stepped away from it. So one of the main things that I want to discuss is the concept of learned helplessness. This is something that I did during my 2019 Alpha Tour. We went to Pittsburgh, Louisville, Columbus. I think we went somewhere else, didn't we? Did we go anywhere else? Was that Pittsburgh, Louisville?
We did 4, I think.
Columbus.
I think we did Columbus twice.
Yeah, we did Columbus twice. That's right. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, I went and I talked about learned helplessness. So basically learned helplessness, and you can let me know if you can relate to this or if you know someone. This is most of my family. These are the individuals who are so accustomed to everything being bad for them that no matter what, they cannot see any positive outlook. And this is not talking about mental health. I'm not poking fun at somebody who has legitimate depression. This is a learned trait that comes from a lack of motivation and a lack of desire to do simple tasks that can improve the value of your life.
It is a huge problem in American society right now. And I know you all see it. It's the main reason for a majority of our country's problems right now. It really is.
For example, how often do you guys get on Facebook and you see a friend or a family member or someone you follow that says, oh, I guess just nobody cares, or I had a terrible day, I guess that I'm just not very, I guess that life just isn't meant to play out good for me. Woe is me, poor me, I wish life would give me a break. Like, everybody's seen that. I used to post like that too, right? It's something that there are some people in your life who that is their existence. Their personality trait.
Yeah, I literally have someone that I know from our local area, you know exactly who I'm talking about, whose entire existence is complaining about how crappy his existence is.
Yeah.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
So learned helplessness, let's talk about a study that took place in the 1960s, and for all of my animal lovers, this is gonna hurt a little bit. It's painful to hear, but it needs to be heard because the experiment is a big eye opener. So there was an experiment conducted with dogs in the 1960s where they took a dog and they placed it into a crate, and the floor of the crate would shock the dog. It sent like an electric signal, and it would shock the dog. Not like electrocute it to death or anything, but it gave it like a little shock.
A little zip.
And after a while, they decided to alter the experiment where they created just a teeny tiny little wall in between the side of the enclosure that would shock the dog and a side that wouldn't shock the dog. And all the dog would have to do was step over this little tiny wall, and then the dog would no longer be shocked. But after being shocked so much, the dogs lost their desire to jump over and get on the safe side. They were more content laying down on the side that was shocking them rather than getting up and stepping over. Then they did the experiment again where they took dogs who had never been placed in the shocking enclosure, right? These dogs had not been exposed to being shocked. They put that dog in there. They started shocking, and the dog immediately jumped over. The dog got the hell out of there, right? This was
a bad word.
I know. This was an experiment in learned helplessness. It is this mindset that you can get yourself stuck in, and only you can pull yourself out. But it is the mindset that my life is not in my control, and I will never be able to make it better. Now, think about the word responsibility. what does that word mean at its core? Break it down a little bit. Think about it. What does responsibility mean? Response, ability. It is your ability to respond. So having responsibility is your ability to respond to the things that are happening within your life. Everything in your life belongs to you. There is nobody that is going to come save you, unfortunately. There is nobody that cares about your life as much as you do. Mm-hmm. There is nothing that is going to help you make your life better unless you take that positive action to improve the things that are taking place in your life and your business, no matter what that is. And the thing that I always talk about with HAA, our Etsy course, is that, like, for example, the program has everything an Etsy seller could need to succeed. And this isn't a sales pitch, guys. It's not even open right now. It doesn't open until December. But HAA has everything that an Etsy seller could need to succeed, whether they already have an existing business or they don't have the business yet and they want to start it. And anybody that's in HAA that's in the comments right now will tell you that. It is exactly what it is. But I always tell sellers that if you aren't geared to put in the work, I don't want to be your sloppy rebound. I don't want to be your last resort. I don't want to be the person that you come to where you're like, I can't succeed. I'll never do anything right. I'll never have a successful business. Because the thing is, if you come into my program with that toxic mindset, my responsibility as a coach isn't to also pull you out of that. I will tell you exactly what to do, but if you walk into it with the most toxic, negative mindset ever,
bye-bye,
you will not succeed. You have to believe that you can. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, and people get sick of hearing that.
It's really hard because, and I'm assuming the majority of you are in the U.S. There's a lot of you that are outside of the U.S. We're in this really weird time period, and I think the political climate contributes to this a lot, where everybody complains about how bad everything is, but everyone also has a very extreme sociopathic behavior where, like, everything is terrible, but I'm amazing. And you have to be able to concede a little bit on both of those sides and realize that everything's not, like, completely falling apart like the media likes to make you think it is, and you're not as amazing as you think you are. And you're able to be more humble, and you're able to make better decisions because of that. You can say, okay, maybe I should do this thing for this other person that was asking me to do this, or maybe like with refunds or with custom orders and things like that. You have to be able to be humble in order to succeed. You really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Staying humble and being able to admit that I don't know everything and I need to spend time on myself.
And it doesn't matter what side of what spectrum you're on, what political spectrum, what mental state that you're in. You're not immune from it. And you have to be able to step back and, like, rein in your emotions a little bit. And again, concede those points to a point where you can think with a level head. Because if you're not thinking clearly, then you can't make good decisions to begin with.
Right. You're relying on your emotional brain, which is your emotional brain is the most irrational part of the brain. It is. I always talk about the reptilian brain, which is true. It's not literally. We don't have a reptile. The reptilian brain is the part of your brain that evolved first.
Yes.
It's like the rings of a tree, right? In the middle of the tree, those rings are the ones that grew first. That was the start of the tree, and then the outer rings are what came last. Our brain is the same way. The part of the brain that evolved first is our strongest, and it is our emotional responses.
Yes.
That's why they tend to dictate our life, where our logical thinking side, the thing that where we're contemplative, we haven't had that forever. That's a new occurrence in human evolution. We have recently acquired the ability to think and contemplate and problem solve to the level that we do.
And we have not figured out how to regulate it yet, though.
No.
We have no control over the regulation of that at all. I mean, you think of how fast things are proceeding. The difference between, like, selling, let's say 150 years ago versus selling now, where, like, you literally you could even, like, get in a car and drive somewhere. You had to walk to somewhere, and the only things you knew about were the things that were happening that other people told you about, or like the newspaper told you about. And we're at a point now where you have access to literally everything. Any kind of information that you could want to know, you could know for basically free, like the majority of the time.
Most of you guys watching us probably live nowhere near us. A lot of you are in different countries right now.
Somebody just said that they're in Canada or whatever. So, I mean...
Australia?
We're not at a point where we really understand how things work on a level, and we're accelerating faster than we're able to evolve.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, that's what it is. We're at a point where information is prevalent, and people are able to express their opinions on a worldwide scale, and people haven't figured out how to take information with a grain of salt from the internet because we lack that human experience, right? When you're talking with someone through text or online, without a face, you're not able to accurately determine the emotion that's being portrayed, or the I can't think of the word, but you're not able to tell the true meaning behind what they're saying. So it can be a really, really toxic place. Pro tip for any of you that are dealing with this kind of stuff: you don't have to delete people on social media. You don't have to delete your social media. There are other ways to do it. If you have these extremely toxic people, these extremely sociopathic people, Facebook is usually the worst place. I get on Instagram. Instagram is like one of the most positive. It's all positivity anymore.
Yeah.
Just click the little hamburger menu on the top right of any post and just snooze the person for 30 days, or you can
silence them permanently.
Unfollow them. You don't have to delete them. That way they can still message you if something happens.
And they don't know that you did it. You don't have to see their posts, and they have no idea.
No idea. You can completely clean your feed of all these insanely sociopathic people without having to delete them completely out of their lives. Their intention, you can't understand their intention. Inflection. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
So on the Etsy terms, considering that I'm a coach, and one of the things that really impacts me on a daily basis is hearing sad stories. And I almost have to, it's so hard because Mark and I, we care so freaking much, and we almost have to force ourselves. It's not that we don't care, but we have to put up a wall between what we read from you guys and what exists within our own head. Because if we were to take every single sad story personally, we would be so sad.
A nightmare.
It's like the people who work in hospice care. I'm sure that there's a couple of you. It's hard to work with people who are dying all the time. You have to build mechanisms to block those things out. Same with Mark being in the military. Yeah. He had to learn how to block out the things that would otherwise keep him up at night.
And your brain views that kind of content on the internet the same way. You see something depressing, you see a sad photo, you see a sad video, and it's an immediate downer. And you can't control it. You see it, you're like, oh, that sucks. There goes a little bit of my happy for the day. And you'll never get that. You'll never get that back.
Yeah. And we get so many emails every day in our public inbox.
Woe is me.
And comments and things. And it gets hard because we feel bad and we want to help. And we know that a lot of the times, we don't have anything to offer. But the things that I see sellers most commonly refuse to budge on, the things that I just... just do something. It feels like common sense to me. SEO. SEO is too hard. It's too hard. I can't figure it out. It's hard for everyone.
Yeah, everybody has the same capabilities.
It's hard for me, and I'm one of the leading Etsy SEO experts in the world.
I suck at it. I'm terrible at it. I don't have the kind of brain that's creative for stuff like that.
It's hard. Even Anthony Wolf, the CEO of eRank, occasionally he's like, I don't know. It's a hard thing. But the thing about SEO, the cool thing about it is that it's a science experiment. There's no way to fail at it. Sure, you can have a succession of things that don't go the way you want them to, but they're all experiments. And what happens when you do an experiment and it doesn't turn out how you want it to? You use the 7 steps of the scientific method, and at the end of your experiment, you say, this didn't go as well. Here are the reasons that I think it didn't go. Let's try the experiment with these alterations and see if we get a different result. There, I have down below the Science of Etsy Success workshop. That's free. That is literally breaking down Etsy SEO into the scientific method. It is a free workshop that you can sign up for literally right now and take this weekend. It's only 20 minutes long, but it talks about how to use the scientific method in order to treat your SEO like an experiment. So never say SEO doesn't work. I can't do it. Yes, you can. I love you guys. It is possible. It takes a lot of time. You will have days when you are frustrated, and not everything is going to work. Not everything you test is going to work.
Yeah, I'm frustrated now.
I test things all the time. My YouTube videos, it's the same process. We have tags, titles, and descriptions on YouTube, just like Etsy has tags, titles, and descriptions. I had a video not last Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, that made my channel go freaking viral. I barely keyword optimized it.
It was, it wasn't this week. It was last week.
Yes. And then this last Tuesday, I did one that I thought was going to go viral. It was how to edit your...
It did so bad.
How to edit your photos for free without Photoshop, and nobody watched it.
Sometimes the algorithm just doesn't like you. By the way, if you're one of the people that found us from that video, if you're, I mean, seriously, like almost a month's worth of views on that single video, it's like 3 weeks worth.
Like, hi.
Hi, welcome. If you're one of the like 2,000 subscribers that video brought us out of nowhere.
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. Let us know how you found us, because apparently YouTube now tells you like, hey, your video is doing well. We're going to show it to more people. It's a little like graduation cap that they put on top of it. And they're like, your video is doing well. It's experimental. We're putting it in front of more people.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know.
Next thing is, I'm not good at social media, or the most common one I hear is, I think I'm too old. I just don't get it. You know, my kids are good at it, or my grandkids are good at it, but I'm not good at it. And everybody will look at me and they'll say, oh, Starla, you're young, you're good at it. I'm like, no, I'm not. The only reason I'm good at it is because all I do is research it. I put hours and hours and hours into researching and experimenting and testing. I have 8 Instagram accounts. And some of them suck. Some of them are not performing at all, whereas others are doing phenomenally well. And it's just experimenting and trying to identify the patterns that are working, while also doing the obvious. I follow Instagram. I follow Instagram's CEO and listen to what he's saying. I read their latest articles and blogs to make sure that I know what the heck is going on. I follow the leading, influencers in the Instagram community and listen to what they tell me to do. And then I do those things and I see if they work. And if they do, I share it with you guys. I am regurgitating information that I am getting from other sources. You guys could easily do that. And I'm so glad that you listen to me. I really am. I'm glad that you come to my channel for that information, because maybe you just like how I explain it. That's great. I love that. I will keep doing that for you. But if you say to yourself, I want to master Pinterest, but it's so hard, or I want to master, Facebook, but it's so hard, you've got to be able to just do some research and be willing to fail. You're going to fail sometimes. I fail all the time, but I never see it as a failure. I use it as an opportunity to say, okay, what did I learn from this? What can I take from this? I'll look at a post that I've posted that didn't perform well, and I'll say, okay, was it the colors that I used in the post? Was it the photo itself? Did I not use good keyword optimization in the captions? Was there something else that I posted that day that took the spotlight away from this item? Was it a bad day? Did I post it on a Sunday, which are historically known to be Instagram's least engaging days? What caused this post to do bad? And then I learned from it. I'm like, okay, well, for example, the YouTube video that took off 2 weeks ago, Mark was looking at it and he's like, you did the thumbnail on that video in blue and you never do blue thumbnails. You should experiment with more blue thumbnails. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what did it. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe next video I'll do a blue thumbnail and see if that works.
See what it is. Because the popular colors now are like green, red, yellow. Blue stands out in a crowd full of green, red, and yellow. So
Exactly. So nobody's good at social media. If you need the extra help and you've got like kids or grandkids who are good at it, sure, ask them, have them help you out. But
social media is a real big game. It really is, because like you see a lot of like big companies that you'll get ads for constantly, and you know how they're getting those? They're paying literal hundreds of thousands of dollars to put those ads in front of you. Gaming social media algorithms it's fun. We're still working on that. Like, no one has that figured out for free.
Yeah, yeah. So I would recommend, following the source. Follow, for example, with Etsy, if you're confused about Etsy, follow Etsy on LinkedIn. That is the best place to hear what they're doing as a company. If you need Instagram help, follow Instagram. Instagram will tell you tips. They will tell you what to do. YouTube, if you want to be successful on YouTube, YouTube makes their own videos that tell you how to be successful on YouTube. These platforms want you to be successful because they want people to use their platform. They're not going to lie to you. They're not going to lead you astray.
You make them money.
Exactly.
You keep their shareholders happy. Happy shareholders is a happy company.
Yeah. Next thing is, and this is probably the biggest one, is I don't have the time to learn new things.
I don't.
So everybody has different obligations, and only you know what your daily obligations are, and you have to set your schedule. However, there are always things that can be removed that are not that important during your week. I'm not saying during your day. Everybody needs a break. Mark and I clock out at 10 o'clock every night, never fails. We are always clocked out. We hang out from 10 to midnight. We go to bed at midnight.
I don't work on Saturdays or Sundays.
And we don't work on Saturdays or Sundays.
I won't, unless it's an emergency, I won't touch my computer.
Well, I'm going to have to do this boot camp.
She does, and leading up to the boot camp. This is a perfect example. There are exceptions sometimes. We have a lot of important work. I decided I wanted to go do a 3-day festival concert, so we have to get things done before it happens.
Yeah, yeah. So there are always ways to squeeze things in. And the problem is, if you don't have the time to learn how to sell on the platform that you have decided that you're going to sell on when it comes to an online environment,
then why are you?
Maybe that's not where you should be selling. Maybe you should go to your local, if you've got like a local consignment type store that also has, maybe they've got like a cool place where they can display your artisan soaps. And
a lot of them do.
Yeah, there's tons of them. Maybe you can do live events or craft fairs.
Maybe there's a local market. If you sell soaps or like health goods, that kind of stuff, maybe there's a local market where you can open up a stand once a week.
Yeah, that nothing says, there's no rule that says you make a handmade item, you have to sell on Etsy. But if you're going to sell on Etsy, you better understand how Etsy works. And that's, obviously that's our whole channel. If you have any questions about Etsy, the answer to your question is likely somewhere on my channel. I likely have a video about it, or you can ask him.
And if not, join us here. We answer questions every Friday.
Yeah, we'll answer some questions here in a few minutes as well. But you have to be able to learn about what you want to do. You can't say, I'm going to become a surgeon, and then you never go to school to become a surgeon. Well, I'm not getting surgery from you. If you're going to be an Etsy seller, you need to learn how to sell on Etsy. And there's a lot more to it than just making a thing. Making a thing is the smallest part of running a handmade business. The smallest part. It is the smallest and usually the easiest part. Unless you're like, a blacksmith, like hammering, a
master craftsman.
Yeah, and even then you're probably
something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's probably easy in the sense that you love it so much that it's not as hard. But you also have to learn to love the online aspect. So one of the big things that I teach in HAA and in Module 9 of Handmade Alpha Academy is plan, adapt, evolve. You need to plan for change to happen because around you, everything, the online environment is always going to change. Algorithms are going to change. Social media is going to change. The hot new social media platform is always going to change. You have to be ready to adapt to whatever the change is. And then evolve. You have to be willing to say, I am going to evolve with these changes. I am going to change with the changes so that I can be a better business because change is always going to happen. It is never going to go backwards. It is only going to go forwards. And a lot of the times the forwards way is going to seem pretty stupid, honestly. But it becomes less stupid the more you understand it. For example, when TikTok became the hot thing, I was like, wow, this is really stupid. A bunch of people dancing around to stupid music. I don't want to do this.
Yep.
It took me a long time to get on TikTok. Now,
it's huge. It's absolutely huge. We had, 7 times more people sign up for E-Rank in the course of about 2 days.
Because somebody made a TikTok.
Yep. Because somebody big made it was literally like 5-second long video.
Yeah, about you mentioning E-Rank. Like, it's one of those things where, it's something I said I will never do. I will never dance on camera and be silly. And yesterday I posted a reel on my Instagram where I'm dancing to music, pointing to all these different Etsy tips. And I'm not saying you got to do that. You don't have to dance on camera. But if TikTok or Instagram Reels, which it is, that's why I've got a free Instagram challenge kit down below for you guys. But if Reels are the hot thing, which they are right now, you have to be willing to say, I'm going to give this a shot. Whether that's, you just holding your phone, panning over an item. Here's a guitar pick. You're just kind of, ooh, look at my guitar pick. And you post that and you see how it does. That takes
Somebody's going to see it.
Somebody's going to see it. That takes no time. You can slap it together really fast. Put a trendy, music track on it. Instagram has a ton of them, and just see what happens. I've got more tips on that though. If you are interested in mastering Instagram, my Instagram challenge kit, it's a 30-day growth strategy, and it's completely free, and it comes with everything that you need. So feel free to get that down below. But the main thing that I'm getting at is that in every evolution that we can think of any creature, the species that evolves is the one that survives. If you are not able to adapt to change, we can use climate as an example. If all the ice caps melt, what animals are going to be the first to go extinct? It's going to be the animals that cannot survive without cold climates. They're not going to be able to survive. We have to think about how our environment changes and make sure that we are also changing with our environment and being willing to change and not spending too much time complaining and moaning about the change, because that's a time waster, right? You're not going to make any progress if you're just sitting around, oh, I hate this, I hate this. Yeah, when it comes to Etsy, we can fight for things to change back. That's what we did with the ODR, order dissatisfaction rate, couple years ago. I think it launched in 2019. We all hated it. We bugged Etsy. We said, hey, we hate this. Etsy took it. Yeah, Etsy took it away.
Yep.
Which, sometimes our voices do work, but when a change is made that we can't influence,
something the shareholders wanted, usually.
Yeah. Then it's one of those things where you have to say, okay, how can I change this? I wanted to use Blockbuster as a brilliant example of this. Believe it or not, there is one Blockbuster left. They're about to have a Netflix series made about them. Isn't that the...
There's a movie about it, too, I think.
No, it's going to be a Netflix thing.
It's just a series? Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a Netflix thing. Isn't that a kick in the pants?
That's so wild.
So, Blockbuster, the reason that Blockbuster fell, obviously, was because of streaming services. But it didn't start out that way. Netflix started as a service where you got online, you placed your order, they'd mail a DVD to you, and then you'd mail it back to them. Mm-hmm. The founder of Netflix contacted the CEO of Blockbuster when Netflix first started. And he said, hey, let's work together. I will advertise, I will take Blockbuster and put it online for you. I will put it online if you advertise Netflix in your stores. The CEO of Blockbuster said, that is too niche. Nobody will want this. This is going to become obsolete. I don't want anything to do with it. Blockbuster went bankrupt within 2 years of being offered that deal.
Yeah, because Netflix started putting out their the booths where you could rent DVDs within the booth.
That's Red Booth or Red Box.
Netflix did it too. There were a bunch of services that were doing what they did without having to hire employees to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem with having a board of directors that likes to make decisions for a company.
Yeah, it's
don't always think you know best.
Yeah, it's looking at something that is new and innovative and saying, oh, that's not how it's always been. it's always been this way, therefore the new way is wrong. That ultimately is what will lead to eventual failure. So concluding our little pep talk, my main points are to always be teachable. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. You guys educate me all the time, and hopefully I'm educating you. Be teachable and be willing to learn from people who know more than you. Sometimes even if you don't like those people. I've got some YouTubers I listen to who I don't necessarily like. I don't jive with their personality, but they give good advice, so I still listen to them.
Excuse me.
Be humble, like he said. You know, it's never a good idea to believe that you are entitled to any level of success.
You are not entitled to anything. The universe isn't fair and nobody owes you a thing.
Yeah, and if is the faster that you can realize that, the faster you can say, no, I am not going to sit around and be sad. I am not going to sit around and do nothing. I am going to move. I am going to continue moving forward no matter what, even when it's hard, and I don't care if it's uncomfortable. I am going to be unstoppable. And it is okay if I have a day when I need to stop and catch my breath. That is totally fine. Sometimes you need a week to catch your breath. After Handmade Alpha Academy closes every season,
it's usually pretty rough.
We just lay like, oh my God. Like it's like we just ran 6 miles and are just laying there like, I want to die, because we're so exhausted and tired, and we got to rest because we've expended everything we have. But then we come back stronger afterwards. So it's okay to rest, but never stop moving forward.
Yes. Find
all of your excuses, no matter what they are, and eliminate them. Last week, I started a complete overhaul of my health. I'm not always going to the gym. I only went twice this week. Hopefully we get to go, again, maybe today.
Busy.
But I made it a point to say I'm going to take control of my health because I've gained a lot of weight over COVID. And I want to lose that weight by summer 2023. That's my goal. I'm not, trying to get like ripped or anything like that, but I want to be healthier. I want to be happier. I'm noticing having a lot of aches and pains that I didn't have a couple of years ago, and I want those to go away. So
'cause you're older now.
I know. So I have bought myself a wellness planner. You guys know I use the Legend planner for my day-to-day planning, like my schedule for work. But I bought their Legend wellness planner on Amazon. I love it. I'm tracking my macros, carbs, fats, and proteins. I have my set number of calories. I write down literally everything that I eat every single day. Now, the reason that I was hesitant to start that was I thought, man, it's going to take so much time. I'm going to have to weigh all my food. I'm going to go into the gym is going to prevent me from being able to do the things that I need to do. I'm never going to be able to reach any of my step goals that I have because I'm so busy. No matter what, while he was cooking, I was like 100 or 200 steps away from my step goal and dinner was about to be ready. I walked circles around the dining room until I reached my step goal. Because I've got it on paper, I'm more likely to do it. I eliminated all of my excuses. It doesn't matter what your excuses are. You can eliminate them, or if you have, a genuine obstacle, like for example, you can't eliminate the excuse of my child has special needs. You can't, send them somewhere for a week unless you've got like a really great babysitter who's willing to take care of them for a little while. You have to work around that. But there are ways, even if you have to work in teeny tiny chunks at a time. When I work, I am usually working in teeny tiny chunks at a time. I work a little bit in the morning, and then I usually have to do some type of either live stream, or I had a meeting yesterday with my E-Rank team, or, we do the Friday Bean. I worked until the Friday Bean. I'm going to work after the Friday Bean. Then my kid's going to get off the bus, and I'm going to have to stop and make sure that she's doing her homework and doing all that, and then I'll be able to work a little bit more. And then we have to plan dinner, and then I'll come back and I'll work a little bit more. You don't have to be able to do everything all at one time. You have to look at what you have, at the cards that you've been dealt, and be able to work with those. And my last thing, and it's my favorite quote. Well, I have 2 favorite quotes. The one that I use the most in my day-to-day life, and I say it to all of my friends, all of my family, everything is figure-outable. Everything. There is nothing in this world that is not figure-outable. Everything can be overcome. A great example of that, we were driving while on our way to vacation. We stayed, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
4.
4 weeks ago?
It's been a month, yeah.
While ago, we stayed in the mountains in Tennessee, and we had to drive through several tunnels, that went through the mountains. And my thought was, man, imagine the guy that stood in front of this mountain before there was a tunnel and said, let's not go over it. Let's make a path through it. And how much work it took them to make that path.
To dig a hole.
Through it.
Through the earth.
Through a mountain.
Not down, through.
Through rock. Through rock. How much work did that? My brain can't fathom what went into doing that, but they did it.
More than once. They've done it a lot.
They figured it out. It was figure-outable. Everything is figure-outable, no matter what it is. And my second favorite quote that you guys seem to like the most, we should put it on a t-shirt. Make flexibility your favorite F word. I learned that quote when I was in high school. I went to a vocational school where I was learning to be a preschool teacher. That's where my love of psychology rooted. I learned that, being a teacher does not pay enough, so I ended up not taking that career path, but I applied what I know about curriculum building to teaching Etsy. But basically, my instructor, she said, there's going to be days when you come in here and your boyfriend just broke up with you, or your parents grounded you, and you're going to be mad and you're going to be upset and you're going to have lack of sleep and you're going to have a bunch of homework assignments. But these little kids, they don't know that. All they see is your face and the energy that you're portraying. And they don't care that you just got broken up with, and they don't care that you didn't get sleep last night. Your smile is going to either make or break their day. Your ability to give them positive energy and dedicate yourself to them. You have to make flexibility your favorite F word. I clung on to that quote and I use it in every aspect of my life because it applies in business, it applies in fitness, it applies in everything. If you can't be flexible, then you're going to be a really miserable person. So yeah, that's really, I think what I wanted to say, but if you guys have questions, I want you to let us know because we've got about 30 minutes.
Yep. We're going to push out till 1:30. We're officially at a point now where go ahead and get your questions and we're going to go ahead and start answering questions. But I did want to say, we're officially to a point now where we have so many people watching these live streams that we can't just answer questions until we run out of questions anymore. So we have a couple of different options available. We can either hard stop at 1:30 every day, no matter what. If there's questions left over, we have to hard stop. Otherwise, we're going to be live streaming until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we cannot do that.
Yeah, it's cutting into us being able to go eat because we eat lunch right afterwards, and sometimes we're eating lunch way late.
Yeah, and then we also have actual work that we still do. Fridays are still a work day for us. We don't cut after these. Or, and I know some of you would genuinely hate this, we could enable Super Chat for questions where we would prioritize Super Chat questions. Anytime Super Chat questions would come in, we'd prioritize them. If you don't know what that is, it's where you pay, I think it's a specific amount. I think we can set it. I think the lowest is like 80 cents or $1 or something like that, and then you get your questions answered. I don't particularly like the idea of doing that.
Maybe like when we have more subscribers.
That's what I'm saying. As it grows, how many of you would genuinely be upset by that if we prioritize those questions? We probably wouldn't make it where we only answer those questions, but I mean, there are 300 of you. Our audience live streams have gone in the last 2 months from having like 70 to 100 people to having 300 people in these live streams. It's unmanageable to completely answer everybody's questions. We do them in order. It's just to keep it fair.
I like the hard stop, and maybe if we hit if we hit 50,000 subscribers, maybe the super chat will be necessary.
It will legitimately get to be unmanageable at that point. If we do that, we'll just make an agreement now that if we have to enable the super chat, we'll just donate all of the money that comes in.
That's a good idea.
For the super chat. Anything we make through the super chat, we'll donate.
Yeah, and you guys can pick, maybe a weekly charity we'll pick.
Yeah, or monthly.
Yeah,
That'd
monthly.
Probably be easier. But I had another point.
Okay.
When it comes to, a lot of this was really just don't make excuses. And a lot of it was don't complain. I don't believe you shouldn't complain. I'm actually kind of against that.
Yeah.
However, make sure that for one, your complaints are valid. Is it a legitimate complaint, or is it just you being nitpicky, and is it you that's the problem? But if you're going to complain, and this applies to every aspect in life, and this is something that was really, my grandpa preached this a lot, and it's something that I learned in the military. If you're going to complain, always have a prospective solution to what your complaint is. Even if you think the idea is stupid, even if you think your solution to the problem isn't going to work, you're wasting your time complaining if you're not actively at least thinking of a way to solve the problem. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just bitching. You're not actually complaining about something serious. You just want to complain.
Yeah.
So if you're going to complain, provide a potential solution. Oh, I'm overweight because I'm overweight. What can I do to solve that? I can work out. I can eat better. I can cut toxic people out of my life that force me to eat things, you know? Like there's a solution to everything, and you might not necessarily know the solution, but if you're chasing that solution, then make that part of the complaint. Especially if you're going to voice the complaint or post about the complaint, say, you know, I hate how this is. We could do this, this, or this to fix it. Like, provide a solution. Don't just complain. Otherwise, you're just contributing to the noise that everybody else is throwing out there. Your Facebook feed is full of complaints and not one solution. If you're going to complain, totally fine. Facebook's a place for that. It's what it's for. Provide a solution for it as well. People don't have a reason to call you out for your bullcrap.
Yeah, and I notice this a lot where people are like, Etsy should take down all the items that aren't handmade. I agree. How are they going to do that? Are they going to put a bot in place? How is that bot going to know that you're genuinely handmade? You know, maybe you do wire wrap necklaces. How is that bot going to know that your wire wrap necklace is actually handmade? And what if it says that it isn't, and then it takes your listings down? A bot isn't smart enough. It's not, there's subjectivity. Or if they've got real people doing it, what if the real person is sitting there and they're saying like, oh, well, this doesn't look handmade to me. This looks too nice to be handmade. And they take your listing down. There's no solution. Etsy's aware of the problem, but there's no good solution. So what do we got?
All right, move up just a little bit. We haven't had a lot of comments.
Logan, I saw that you said that you have COVID. I hope that you're feeling okay. Take care of yourself. Don't. COVID is a legitimate excuse to sit around. I was not able to do anything because my headaches were so bad. We've had it twice.
Yeah, I've had it twice. Yeah, she still has some issues from it. Yeah. I don't think she has long COVID. I just think her recovery's been slow.
Yeah, before the vaccine, we did everything to stay away from people, and we still got it. It was awful.
And your questions don't necessarily have to be related to the topic at hand. A couple people said they were okay with the payments, and a couple people said hard stop. We would still hard stop with the paid ones. They would just take priority.
Yeah, we'll start with hard stops. That's it. We won't. I don't feel a necessity to charge for. I don't want to do that. Like, we'll do it for charity. Eventually, if we get.
Yeah, I genuinely don't want to do that. I want to keep everything that we do on YouTube free, but unfortunately, you see how the chat is. I mean, when it gets going, and we can't keep up. And then some people feel like they've been left out because we didn't get their question. People start repeating themselves. Somebody said to get moderators to answer simple questions, but that, again, still just gunks up the chat and makes it difficult to find the questions that we think need answered.
Yeah, we've got Amber Marie, who's here occasionally, but she's also a successful business owner, so she's...
All of our people that help us are other successful Etsy sellers.
I love this comment. Diagnosed as pre-diabetic yesterday. Now I get happy cooking again and not eating out. That's amazing, and that's exactly what we're doing. Mark's been making us really, really nice dinners.
I think I'm also pre-diabetic because if I go without eating for too long, I literally get dizzy. But instead of going and trying to make it everybody else's problem, I'm just trying to eat better.
Yeah, he's gonna make health shifts.
Health shifts. Maybe having a few, only issue is people may pay for their question and then you will have to go longer. No, I'll still hard stop. I'll make it fully apparent that we're going to hard stop, and if they pay for it, that's on them. And
keep in mind, guys, like Logan said, there is the Handmade Alpha Facebook community where other alphas, if you want to get questions answered by them, some of them, especially when it comes to things that are like related to, UK specific issues and things like that, a lot of them are smarter than I am. They know more about it than I do. I'm not from the UK. So feel free to join the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, link down below. There are 3 membership questions. If you don't answer those, I won't let you in. But go join that and ask questions. There are like 10,000 people in there that can help you.
I heard from another Etsy coach that we have 30 days to update our bank account to match our Etsy store name, but I didn't see a notification on my finance page like they had. Is that true?
You should have gotten an email, and I don't think that everybody got it. I think that only certain sellers got it.
They'll probably do it in batches.
You would have gotten an email, and it would be, I believe, on your Etsy dashboard. You do have to update your banking information, but if you don't see it, then obviously it's either not applying to you, or they're, like he said, they might be doing it in batches.
Most of what Etsy does is done in batches. That's why some people will say, or like when the chat feature rolled back out, a bunch of people had chat, a bunch of people still to this day don't have chat.
They just re-enabled the chat, the live chat.
For people that don't have strikes against their shop. Yes. And you have to have had one sale as well.
Yes.
I sell paint palettes. One of my customers sells handmade paint. They would like to work out a kind of partnership, any legal forms or advice or things to watch out for. I mean, it depends on the scale of how they're selling. If they're like a gigantic seller, then maybe have somebody draft up some legal forms and agreements. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, just if you've got limits, if you've got things that you don't want them to do, like, maybe just say that they have to make sure to credit you if they're the ones selling your products.
Make your terms known in text somewhere that is savable, whether that's email, Etsy, chat, whatever.
Yeah, make them a little Google document of the things that you are requiring. You must credit me. Here are the things that I will advertise our collaboration on social media, or...
Chats are best. Lists and Excel documents and stuff usually aren't great because it's hard to prove when things were edited, when things were added in. Chats have a timestamp. Yeah. Emails have a timestamp. You can't falsify an email. So
That's true.
That only happens to older shops. I noticed I had to do that on my main shop since 2012, but not my other two, which I started in 2020 and 2022. I think they're talking about the bank thing.
Yeah.
If you do paid questions, maybe do a weekly poll in the Facebook group and let people submit questions and vote on the ones they want to see answered, then answer the top ones. That usually has a tendency to start arguments on posts where people are like, you should do that. Like, people try to start answering the questions and then people start arguing about it.
I don't want to overcomplicate it. I like the organicness of you guys being able to come in here and ask us things in the moment.
It's human. It's a lot more human.
Yeah. Me and Mark we watched a video on AI, that Jasper program that AI generates content, and it
shout out to Drew Gooden.
Yeah, you just type in some words related to what you want your captions to say, and it types them out for you. I'm like, AI generated content is not human content. It's the content for the sake of having content, which I try not to do.
WIP makes it easier to see it as handmade.
Work in progress.
I know. Yeah, I got you. Does Etsy collect sales tax? Sorry if this is a dumb question. I'm starting my shop next week and want to make sure I have my bookkeeping ducks in a row.
Yes, you will be able to look at the states where sales tax is collected. If you just Google Etsy sales tax, they've got a whole big thing about it. It really is dependent on where you live. I would just go and Google Etsy sales tax. They have a whole big article. The one thing that I will say is I am so not confident with my knowledge base of Etsy taxes. I'm good with Etsy fees. I've got a whole video on that. Etsy taxes, I've got an accountant because when it comes to taxes, I'm a dum-dum. So, and I've also got, we have Michelle Badger in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. If you ever want to tag Michelle Badger, she is an accountant and she works with handmade businesses. She can also answer some questions as well. She's really good at just general knowledge about things that yeah.
Are the marketing and business practices found in HAA just as applicable to businesses who want to eventually move off of Etsy into a private site? The business practices and stuff, yes.
Yes, the marketing and the business portions of HAA can be applied to anything. Same with the brand psychology, the product line launching and things like that. The reason that we say that HAA is primarily for Etsy sellers is because there is a heavy emphasis on Etsy, but most sellers who are in HAA either eventually start their own website to, run alongside Etsy, and the things that they learned in HAA get applied to their website, or they eventually retire from Etsy and exclusively sell on their website, where they close their Etsy shop and move primarily to their website after they already have an audience that they built using HAA. in which case they can still apply that knowledge. I would not recommend it for somebody who only has a website and never wants to start an Etsy shop, though, because there is a large percentage of the program that just won't be applicable to you. Like the Etsy SEO portion. That's not going to be applicable.
This one's kind of subjective. I saw a coach commenting that if you're going to use social media to advertise, you should attract people to your own website and not to Etsy. What do you think? Again, that's a very subjective question.
Yeah, it depends on what your goal is. Yeah. Is your goal to build up your listing quality scores on Etsy so that you can build more, people into your funnel? But here's the best case scenario. This is what everyone's eventual goal, I feel like, if they want to be a 6-figure brand like Amber Marie, this is what they should do. You start your Etsy shop. Step 1, start an Etsy shop. Etsy is a marketplace. It is a store in a busy mall, whereas your website is out in the middle of a cornfield and nobody knows how to get there unless you have, signs pointing to it, which is paid Google ads, Google SEO, which is really, really hard to compete in.
Social media marketing, social media advertising, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Exactly.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Shut up, Google.
But your Etsy shop is already in the saturated mall and people are already walking around it and kind of peeking in. So start with Etsy. Build an email list. This is where you're going to collect your subscribers, people who are interested in your brand. That way, if you move off Etsy or if for some reason your Etsy shop gets shut down, you've got all of your customers. If you don't have that email list and your Etsy shop gets shut down, you have no way to contact past customers. I don't teach email lists here because there's a lot of legalities and things that can get you in big trouble if you don't follow them, including GDPR and the Canned Spam Act. But I do teach it in the Handmade Alpha Academy. Starting an email list, I recommend using MailChimp. It is free up to 2,000 subscribers. Then, after you have an email list where you have started collecting subscribers, then you have your website. Now, best case scenario is somebody places an order in your Etsy shop. You either have an automatic discount code that they can claim on their Etsy order by joining your mailing list, or you have some type of little insert, maybe it's got like a QR code that they can scan on their phone that invites them to join your email list, for 20% off your next purchase. And then they join your email list. From your email list, you can only market your website. Because once you have them on your email list, you're not guiding them from Etsy to your website, which you're not allowed to do. They're now on your email list. You can send them wherever the heck you want. That email list belongs to you. Yes. That's the best case scenario. So should you send people from social media to your website instead? Yeah, because you're avoiding Etsy fees. But if your goal is to first be successful on Etsy, that way you're attracting a lot of people so that you can get more people into your funnel, it would be better to start using Etsy as a tool to build your listing quality scores. The more sales you make on singular listings, the higher your listing quality scores grow. That way you can get those people on your funnel, so that they become forever customers who shop from your website. That is the most profitable business model.
I sell my handmade jewelry on Facebook Lives. I noticed that there are more paparazzi $5 sellers on there. My question is, why aren't there more of us handmade sellers going live on Facebook? We literally teach that.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I mean, it's not an HAA, but that was one of the things that made me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in like an hour, was doing live sales. And it's something that I'm going to be teaching in the upcoming boot camp that I am going to be doing. That should be taking place during the last week of September. And here's a little secret. On September 19th, that should be when we start our early bird pricing, and you'll get like an insane discount if you sign up on that day, because the price is going to go up the day after. You'll have a 24-hour window. It's going to take place on September 19th where you can get it for an insanely discounted rate. That's something that you guys asked me to do. It's not a marketing pitch I came up with. You guys said that I should do that. And yeah, so mark September 19th on your calendars. I will have by next week a waiting list that you can sign up for. That way you can be notified right when it opens. But this is going to be a 7-day boot camp taking place in the last week of September. And it's all pre-recorded, by the way. You don't, it's just like how HAA is, where you can watch it anytime, but I would recommend watching each one on the day that it releases. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of a 7-day guided boot camp. All right.
Did you see the AI rapper that's come out? I feel really uncomfortable with AI anything. You shouldn't be uncomfortable with AI anything. Because the only people that AI are going to hurt are people that are unwilling to learn modern skills.
That's true.
People that jump from job to job that don't have a trade skill, those are the people that are threatened by AI. So as long as you're trying to learn a skill, if AI becomes the popular thing, probably going to be easier and easier and easier to program it yourself. Probably have programs that can write code for AI for you based on whatever you input. Nothing to be afraid of if you're willing to change.
Yeah.
If you're willing to modernize.
The lesson of the day. Man, you guys can really see how big my big ear is. Did you guys know I have one ear that's bigger than the other?
She's got a weird ear.
Look, one ear is way bigger than the other one. During my school photos, I always parted my hair on this side. So
because your mom was abusive when you were young.
No, it's not.
She held her up by her ear.
No, she didn't.
Taxes are terrible in my brain space. Taxes are just terrible.
Question, which accountant company do you use again?
Block Advisors. And
Love
a lot of people are going to hate us for not using a private one, but private ones don't have the insurance and won't take care of an audit for when it eventually happens, because it will.
Block Advisors is not H&R Block. Block Advisors is a segment of H&R Block designed for small businesses, and they take full accountability if anything bad happens.
They are private accountants with the insurance of H&R Block behind them.
Love them.
Basically. And they're specifically for small business.
Love our tax lady. She's so sassy.
I love her.
She like yells at us when we go in there. She is our sassy grandma.
She really wants us to like incorporate and stuff, and we're like, man, I don't really want to pay myself. That's okay. Yes, it's way more cutthroat, but the money potential is much higher. I'll be selling my base products, not my altered ones that I sell on Etsy as handmade. Yep. Selling on your own website can be pretty scary. Can you advise me on which listings to add my Etsy ads? I've first entered all but barely see revenue. Should I just put bestsellers and enter other listings slowly and see how they do?
Only your bestsellers. You put money behind the things that you know are proven to win. My analogy that I always use is you want to bet money on the winning race horses. If you go to a horse race, you don't bet on the horse that has a lame leg. You bet on the horse that you see everybody, all the smart horse race, betting people, all the guys with the cigars and the fedoras. That's how I picture guys who know how to judge which horses are good at racing. You look at what horse they're all bidding on, and you look to see if that horse has a history of winning races. And if that horse has a history of winning races, that's the horse that you bet your money on, because you know that you're more likely to double your money.
The odds are lower, though. Your returns are lower.
Well,
that's how betting works. That's how like the 2-to-1, 5-to-1, 10-to-1.
Okay,
you make less money if they win.
Okay, but we're talking about Etsy right now. Don't.
I know. Just continue.
You've never bet on horses in your life.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
Maybe that's where all our money goes.
I've known you most of your life.
Maybe that's true.
That is true.
Ugh.
So bet on the thing that you know is already performing well. It already has a listing quality score. You know that your SEO is decent on it. You already know that there's a demand for that product. It is the most likely product that is guaranteed to win. So I hear people say, why wouldn't you promote the one that nobody's seeing? Because if nobody's seeing it, then the SEO probably isn't going to be that great. And maybe the reason that nobody's buying it is because nobody wants it. You can't put money behind a listing that nobody wants and suddenly that makes people want it. That's not how it works. You got to put the money behind the thing that is already selling well. Mm-hmm. It's the sure thing. Start there, and then you can experiment with some of the other items.
Do you think Amazon Small Business will eventually push out Etsy? No. I genuinely don't think so.
Absolutely not. There are two different niches. You don't go to Amazon for handmade products. And I mean, there's
nobody associates Amazon with quality products that are handmade. That's just not what they associate it with. And Amazon, at least more recently, makes so much money off of crappy Chinese sellers that there's no way that handmade will ever outshine it. Handmade would have, unless there's some kind of weird cultural shift where handmade everything is what people go towards, which isn't impossible, but it's very unlikely. The chance of handmade making Amazon more money is very, very, very low. So they're going to put the least amount of focus into Amazon handmade. Can you make money and be successful on Amazon handmade? Probably.
Absolutely. I know many sellers who do.
But the chances are lower.
Right. And not to mention, when you think of a handmade product, you don't think of Amazon. You think of Etsy. And unless it is more likely that another platform, a new platform, will pop up in the next 10 years that is a competitor to Etsy and that will innovate faster than Etsy is innovating and take Etsy's place, than it is that Amazon will catch up to Etsy. You can look at the marketplace insights within eRank. and be able to see those platforms and their popularity. And Etsy still in the handmade market is the top.
Starla be sporting full-on Hufflepuff energy today. Dude, it's all about Slytherin.
Except I'm sassy.
Slytherin's where it's at.
I got the colors. I'm not talking like a Hufflepuff today, though. I'm yelling at you guys. Coming out fighting.
Do you have a recommendation on where to start with a website? Buying your domain.
It depends on what you want to do. If you want to DIY it, we recommend using WordPress with Elementor. That's what handmadealphaacademy.com is built with. I personally do a Printify store with Wix for my book, The Channel. You can find that at Explore the Channel. It's a drag and drop system, which isn't going to take you as long to create. It's less customizable, but it's way easier and faster if you want to pay like a little bit more to, have more things done for you. I would recommend that option. Those are the only two I've ever used. So I can't really give advice unless you want to do Shopify, which, that since most people use it, I assume that it's probably a pretty good option as well. I would say Shopify would be a great option to experiment with. But yeah, really it's just about what you want to spend and what capabilities you want to have, how much you want to customize it, how much control you want to have, how much you want to spend on it, and how much time you want to spend building it. Elementor is going to take the most time. It's going to give you the most capability. Amber Marie, if you go to ambermariestudio.com, her site's also built with Elementor.
Mm-hmm. I sell baked goods in my shop. How do you use attributes for food? Does it matter?
I go through the attributes and see if there's one for food.
Ingredients, maybe? Allergy ingredients?
Yeah, if there's no specific attributes for food, then you can just leave them blank. You have to be able to put attributes that apply to your items. If the attributes that are listed don't apply to your items, then it's fine to leave them blank. They're just bonuses. They're like little extra low. They don't have a huge impact on the algorithm. Yeah. They do have an impact, just not a big one.
Make sure you find somebody that's maybe successful selling food products on Etsy or has written things that is successful selling, so you can get best practices. We've never sold food, and food is a very specific thing. Things like allergies, or if you make a product in a room with things like allergies, like, I make this, but I also make things with nuts in the same room, even though it doesn't contain nuts, you could still contaminate, that kind of thing. There's a lot of legal stuff to that. So definitely find somebody who already sells food in the industry and make sure you're following best practices. Etsy might even have a thing for best practices on that. Is there a way to make it so the coupons we offer through Etsy can only be used once?
Nope.
No, as of right now, there isn't. Hopefully in the future.
You'll have to go in and change it constantly if you want people to only use it once. My big piece of advice is to make sure that you're pricing within a margin where you assume that everybody who shops is using whatever your highest discount that you plan to offer is. Assume that every single customer is going to use whatever your biggest discount is. Mm-hmm. That way, when you make a full price sale with no discount, cool, it's like Christmas morning. But otherwise, if they abuse that coupon and use it over and over again, it doesn't hurt. And if they're only coming back and buying over and over again because they have that coupon and they think that they're like getting away with something naughty, let them. They're more likely to become a more valuable customer. That is the LTV, the long-term value of your customer. I once had a customer who she used her 30% off coupon every time she shopped. That woman bought like $10,000 worth of items in my shop. Every single time I launched something new, she bought one of each of the new things. So
if I am seeing a listing get a lot of favorites, but it hasn't sold in a while, should I just assume that 1, the favorites are helping, and 2, that it's a popular style?
Favorites don't help all that much. Etsy tells us that if the listing was found organically on a search page, not like you posted on Facebook and all your friends went and liked it, but if those shoppers were searching for something with keywords and they stumbled across your listing and favorited it, they say that it positively impacts your listing quality. It does mean that people are finding it. They wouldn't be favoriting it if they weren't finding it. Mm-hmm. But I would say that if you're not making any sales at all, it might be worth your while to go in and experiment a little bit. If you are, if you're wanting to mess with your keywords, that should be fine. But as always, especially for our Etsy newbies, never, ever, ever tweak the title or tags of a listing that is performing well, that is selling. We just saw somebody in the eRank group post that I changed the title of my bestseller and now I'm not making any sales. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately that's what happens. You can't touch things that aren't broken because the algorithm is going to get all wonky, and it takes a really long time to build your search placement back up.
Is there too long to be gone from Etsy? I took a few months break, but occasionally get messages if the shop is coming back.
No,
not necessarily. The longer you're gone, the longer it'll take to recover.
Yeah, the longer you're gone, the more your listing quality scores are going to go dormant. I made a video a couple weeks ago that said like penalized for vacation mode, and you can go watch that. Basically, whether you're on vacation mode or your listings are disabled or they've sold out, a listing that is not actively in the news feed cannot be interacted with by shoppers. And interaction by shoppers, whether they're discovering it and favoriting it, purchasing it, leaving a review on it, those are the things that help your listing quality score. So the longer that people aren't able to interact with that listing, the more it's going to fall in search. Now, it still has a listing quality score. That listing quality score has just kind of gone dormant. So when you return, what you need to do is find ways to drive people into your shop. List new items. Promote your existing items nonstop on social media. Run a sale to make sure that people are buying those items. And sometimes that can help you to get back. But in terms of, is there a time frame? No. You can come back at any time.
I'm gonna try AI art. I can already paint, so it could be interesting. I like the idea of using AI art for ideas, especially with DALL-E 2 coming out. There are literally people that are making YouTube videos now that are making like $5,000 to $10,000 a day selling. Like they just go in with really good ideas and sell AI generated art. You can put up prints on tons of websites using original art that's generated by AI, and you do own the rights to it.
My advice would be to get on it quickly, because that's a trend that is going to probably get very popular, but it's probably also going to be a short-lived trend.
But I like it as a learning tool. I like it like, oh, I have an idea of something I want to paint, but I can't quite think of it, and then you can pop a few ideas into it, take a screenshot of it, and be like, okay, I'll paint my interpretation of this. Yeah. And then it's still an original hand-painted thing that isn't AI. It's just an idea. It's like reading a book within a genre to be able to write books in the genre. Is, I'm assuming, Canadian. Thanksgiving, October 10th. Too late for winter collection launch. No holiday Christmas stuff, just winter, and winter here lasts until April. My sale week would also line up with Black Friday this way.
I would try to get them out sooner if you can. That's a little late. I would say that October would be a better time frame. If you can't do it any sooner than October 10th, then you can only do what you can do. But in terms of the algorithm, and not to mention, in Canada, are you guys buying winter-themed decorations after Christmas? Probably not. You associate snowflakes and winter-themed things with Christmas time. And then by January, February, it's like Valentine's Day, right? So I would say if you can get them up sooner, try to get it up as soon as possible.
I'm really confused about getting people from my Etsy shop to join an email list. Do you have a video about this?
I don't, because I don't cover anything email list related here. But one thing that you can do is on the very last slide of your 10 photos in your listing, put a link to your email list. Make sure that it's short, or do a QR code, or go to bit.ly, bit.ly, and shorten your link. That way it's easy for them to type in. And invite them, and make sure that you have an automatic discount code set up, which you can do if you have the option for a welcome email, assuming that you're using like MailChimp or something. Your automated welcome email sends, and it should already have a discount code in it. That way they can claim it on their purchase. So you could say something like, wait, are you about to buy this necklace? Save 20% right now when you join my email list for, an instant coupon code. And then they join, and then they get that coupon code on the thing that they were already planning on buying. If you're about to buy something and you see a coupon for the thing you're about to buy, of course you're going to put the coupon in for the thing you're about to buy. That's a good way to do it. You can also put in an insert, like a printable, into your orders that says something like, for your next purchase, save 20% off by joining my email list, and putting the QR code on that.
They said hard. You don't got to remind us. I know it is. And this one was a follow-up, so we'll just go ahead and answer it, and then we'll cut. So if you have no bestsellers, don't run ads? Not necessarily, no.
You can experiment a little bit. Ads are either going to work or they're not going to work. they're either going to do well or they're not going to do well. If they don't do well, then it's a good idea to stop running them. Ads are not a way to take an unsuccessful shop and make it successful, though. I would say that your best bet, rather than starting with ads, is to start with your own external marketing. I would, like I said, my Instagram challenge kit is down below. That's going to help you to build an audience through Instagram and help you to learn how to kind of to pitch your products to them a little bit easier. If you want to run ads, run ads. If they don't do well, pull them back. It's all about experimenting. Nobody can tell you how your ads are going to do. But if you notice that you're losing money, then don't feel obligated to keep running them. So,
all right, we're gonna go ahead and cut. No more questions. No exceptions. We have to be hard on it. If you had a question that didn't get answered today, our topic normally doesn't run the full hour. If you're new here, normally the topic only runs 15 to 30 minutes. 45 is usually the long, and we just like to talk when it comes to people complaining. He won't scroll
down. He doesn't want me
I don't want to see
them.
them. I know they're over here, but she'll start and I answered that one. No, we're not doing that. We're cutting it. We love you guys. There's 262 of you here, and I know there's not that many likes. So make sure you give the video a like. Make sure you subscribe so you can catch more content. If you have more questions that you want answered, the more questions that we get, the more topics we're able to come up with.
This Tuesday's video is going to be about Black Friday. You guys need to start thinking about Black Friday now. It is the time of year when the most buyers are on the platform. Even if you live in a different country, even if you're not running a sale, there are more buyers on the platform. Last year, Etsy on their Q4 quarterly report, they estimated a gross merchandise sales record of $43,000 per minute for their 5-day Cyber Weekend sale. $43,000 per minute. That is insane. So I'm going to start Black Friday stuff as soon as possible. I've also got my Black Friday toolkit, which is full of free Black Friday resources. That's coming out. That should be done by Tuesday, I'm hoping. That way it goes with that video. So watch out for that. We've got the Instagram challenge kit down below. That's free as well. It comes with tons of PDFs, checklists, calendars, things to help you to grow on Instagram.
Join the Facebook community too. If you have a question that you need urgently answered, that's a great place to stick it.
Yeah, there's like 10,000 alphas in there that can help you with your questions. And there's the Science of Etsy Success Workshop for all of you who are wondering about Etsy's algorithm, how it works, how to take advantage of it. I am a manager at erank.com. I have been since 2020. My job is to know how Etsy SEO works and to understand how to take advantage of the algorithm. And that video is going to teach you exactly how it works. That way you know how to best do your SEO so that you can make sure that your listings are getting found in search. So start with those free things down there. And we love you guys. And yeah.
See you with our next video on Tuesday and another live stream next Friday.
Yeah, every Friday.